Welcome back to the Photoshop Basics for Scrapbooking class. In today's lesson, we are going to up our game from last week where we learned about putting white borders around our photos. And this week, we're actually going to talk about collages, how to create a collage of photos inside of Photoshop and Photoshop Elements. Now, this is something that we will revisit again, and I'll give you a little bit more advanced training on how to make collages in specific sizes. But today I want to show you how you can take the photos that you have cropped and put them on a new page in order to create a photo collage. One thing you might want to do with a photo collage like this is to actually add them to a blank canvas that is the same size as your photo paper. This is oftentimes what I do in order to print out a ton of photos without wasting any of the space on my photo paper itself. So without further ado, let's head over to the computer and let me show you how to create a photo collage. Hey there friends, welcome back over here to my desktop. So today we're going to be talking about creating collages with our photos. And for this particular tutorial, we're going to be using cropped photos to create our collages here inside of Photoshop Elements and Photoshop Creative Cloud. So we're starting in Photoshop Creative Cloud, and what we're going to do first is get a couple of pictures opened up. So let me go ahead and open a few of these up. So let's say that we want to make a collage that is a maybe we want to make a collage that is a 4" by 8", so a traveler's notebook sized canvas or print that has 8 2x2 photos inside of it. Okay, so let's go with that. So we need 8 photos. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. That is not good. No. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So let's open up 8 different photos, and I'm going to go ahead and flip over to Elements and get the same 8 photos opened up over here as well, just so we are ready to go when we finish up inside of Creative Cloud. Okay, so here we are. So we know that our 4x8 canvas, our traveler's notebook sized page, is going to include 8 2x2 photos. So what we need to do is crop our 8 photos to be 2" by 2". So let's start there. We're going to grab our crop tool with the I say that every single time, friends, don't I? Width, height, resolution. And then here we're going to put in manually 2" by 2" at 300 pixels per inch. So then I'm going to go ahead and put this where I want it to go. We're going to hit the enter button and it's going to crop it down. So we're going to do this for all 8 of these photos. Let's just quickly go through here. You know what? Sure. We'll keep him in the middle. And okay, great. And great. And let's do right here. Cool. And there. And there. So that should be all of them. Okay, so we have 8 2x2 photos in our, or here, just ready to go, right? So next what we're going to do is open up a new canvas. This is going to look very familiar to you after last week's video where we talked about putting white borders on your photos. In this case, we're going to create a canvas that's sized at the dimensions that we're hoping to print or add into a project. So for this one, I'm going to make this 4" wide by 8" tall at 300 pixels per inch. So we're making a traveler's notebook sized page. This is slightly smaller than a traveler's notebook size page, which is totally fine because if you printed it and put it into the album, it would not, you wouldn't have to cut anything off of it if it were to interact with the edge of the page, if that makes sense. So then, very similar to what we did last week, we're going to go to each picture, we're going to highlight or select all of it, copy it, So I'm using Control A and Control C here, and then we're going to paste Control V onto the canvas. Now, similar to last week, or as I told you last week, when you paste an element into a new canvas, it puts it directly into the middle. From here, you can actually click on it and drag it and put it anywhere you want. For me, I want this to go into the upper right-hand corner, so I'm going to move it there. You can see these pink guidelines as I am moving things around. That's showing me that the top of the picture is hitting the top of the page, the side of the picture is hitting the side of the page, and the opposite side of the photo is hitting the direct middle of my 4x8 canvas. When I let go, those lines go away. This element is still currently selected, which is why it's got the little dots around the outside. If I click outside of it, then those dots will go away. So then let's go grab, I think that was this one. Let's grab the next one. So we're going to copy it, or select, copy, and paste. And we can move this one wherever we want it to go. Sure, we can just put it there. Let's grab the next one. And we're just going to repeat this process, adding all of these photos into this canvas. So there's that one. It's this one that I just did. So we've got this photo. We're almost there. And then this one. And then this one. Well, we'll leave that open for now. This one. And then this one. And there we go. We have a full 4x8-inch canvas filled with 2x2 photos, 8 2x2 photos to be exact. So this is a way that you can create a collage that perfectly lines up size-wise with the canvas that you are trying to create, or the project, the print size that you want. Now let's say, before we move on with this one, I want to show you how you can use the same concept of creating a collage to create a 6x4 print size where you are printing out 2 3x4 photos onto it. So we're going to start by creating a new canvas. I want my canvas to be 6 inches by 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and create that. There's my white canvas. Now I want to open up. Remember how last week I saved my photo, that 3x4 photo? I saved it with the white border behind it. So I'm going to open up that photo. So here is the white border 3x4 photo. For this one, because it is one element here, I merged everything down. I can select all, and that's going to select everything, so the whole piece. And I can copy it, Control V, go back over to my 6x4 and paste. Now this pastes it directly into the middle. So all I need to do is drag this to the edge where all of those pink guidelines show up, telling me that everything is interacting with the edges, and I can click off in order to have those little dots disappear. So then let's pretend I have another photo, but it's going to be the same one. So we're going to paste the next photo in here, same way. So I'd copy it, paste it, and we're going to move this to the right side of this canvas and then click off. So now we have a 6x4 photo, which is easily sent to a printer or is easily printed from home, because 6x4 photo printer or photo paper is extremely common. I can print this off, cut it in half, and I now have my 2 3x4 photos. So you can print it just like this. If you wanted to save this to send off to a printer, you can do that as well. So I could say, let's go ahead and save this as a, so 2 3x4 photos, image 1. You'll notice though that the save file type is a Photoshop file. The reason this is important to note is because if you send this type of file to a printer, it's not really going to work. So you do need to change this to a JPEG. The reason it's doing this is because there are multiple layers in my layer panel, so it automatically wants to save it as a Photoshop document. So when it opens back up, it keeps everything, all of those layers separate. So let's save this as a JPEG instead of, there we are, instead of a Photoshop file. So I'm going to go okay, okay. So if I were to go and open this up now, this JPEG file, which I can, it opens up, but the layers are gone. So it compresses everything down into one file and saves it like that. So if you want your collage to be saved with all of those different pieces, so let's say this one I want to save, but maybe I want to come back in here. I'm not sure if I want to keep a photo or not. So I want all of the layers to be separate. Then you're going to want to save this. Let's say 4x8 collage, collage photo, sure. You want to save this as a Photoshop document. You can also save it as a JPEG as well, because it's not, the image isn't visible inside of the preview here. So I usually save them as both the Photoshop document and the JPEG. So now when I go into my folder, I can see what it looks like, but here is the actual document that I can open up where all of the layers are kept separate. All right, so we have covered how to create a collage where everything is touching, like this one. We've covered how to create a 6x4 printable photo where you can cut it in half to create the 3x4 photos. Let's talk about one last thing I want to do here, which is the photos that, or the collage here, this 4x8 collage. You can also create photos that have the backgrounds, have that white border. So let's say I actually want these, and I'm just going to use the exact same photo for the entire piece. So I'm going to crop this down, and this time I am going to crop this down to, I'm going to go 1.875 by 1.875 because I want my border around my 2x2 to be a little bit less so I can see more of the tiny photo, which will make more sense here in a little bit. Okay, we'll get this adjusted where we want it to go, and we're going to hit that enter button to crop it down. I'm also going to go ahead and close out of these other ones because I don't need them open anymore. So let's get rid of all that, clean this up. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new canvas, and we're going to size it at the 2x2 inches. So we're going to go inches. I want 2 inches wide by, 2 inches tall, 300 pixels per inch, and create. So this gives me that 2x2 canvas. We can go to the photo that I just cropped and select it all, copy it, and then we're going to paste it onto that 2x2 canvas. So you can see that the border is a little bit smaller, but it actually looks pretty good when you see this at the print size. It makes the photo a bit bigger. Now let's pretend that we have done this for all 8 photos. I'm also going to go ahead and merge the layers together, which is important for copying this piece and pasting it into a different canvas. If I were to select all and copy it, it would only select the photo and not the background border layer. So we're going to first go to Layer and Merge Visible. So now we have just one file. Then we can Control A to select all, Control C to copy, and then let's go back over to that 4x8 collage, and I'm going to paste in my photo. This is just going to go on top of the other ones. I'm not going to bother. Well, okay, I will bother. Let's just go ahead and take these all off of here. There we go. So we'll paste this one on. We're going to look for those guidelines to tell us that we've got it in the right spot. Let's just fill in this whole piece here. I oftentimes like to include the white borders in my collages like this because it gives the eye a little bit of a break in between those different photos. It makes things look a bit more almost like a photo strip, right? Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and save this one as 4x8 photo collage with borders. Okay, so the reason I want to do that is I'm gonna bring up both of them so you can see the difference between the two. So let's close out of all of this stuff. And yeah, we don't need you anymore. Okay, and then let's open up the original collage. So here's the original one where all of the photos are touching, which also looks really awesome. But then here's the one with the borders in between. So it allows you to play around with creating space in between your photos or lack of space if that's the look that you're going for. The last thing for collages that we'll talk about today, when we get into the topic, it's going to be in a couple of months, but we're going to go over the topic of creating layouts inside of Photoshop, digital layouts that you can use either digitally or in a hybrid way. When we do that, I'm actually going to go a little bit more in depth with you on creating more custom types of collages. And we do that by creating layer templates and using shapes and all of that kind of stuff. It's a bit more complex. So I want to wait until we get through the earlier portions of our Photoshop for scrapbooking before we dive into the more complex pieces of this. So just know that that is coming, and I will show you how to create photo collages that are a lot more custom looking than this one, but this is going to give you a really good start, a really good basis for how to create these, for how to take photos and add them onto a canvas and move things around, and having the option of borders or no borders. This is a really good place to start. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk about is using a photo collage, using this action, this type of, what I want to say here, using collages as a way to set up your photos on printable sizes so you can print your photos without wasting any of your photo paper. So to do this, I'm going to open up a canvas, a new canvas that is sized at the dimensions of my photo paper, which is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. So 8.5 inches, 11 inches, 300 pixels per inch. In my studio, I have 8.5 by 11 paper, I have 6 by 4 paper, and I also have 13 by 19 paper. So depending on what size paper I am printing on, that is the canvas size that I'm going to start with. So let's get this 8.5 by 11 open, and we'll create that. So now I've got this white portion, this white canvas that is at the size of my photo paper. So let's say I want to print off both of these collages. This one is a JPEG. Everything is currently compressed together, which is exactly what I want. This one, everything is separate. So I'm going to start by merging everything together so that we have one compressed piece that I can copy and paste. So it's going to make this the easiest. I also highly recommend saving as both the PSD file and the JPEG file before you merge anything together. Save it as that PSD file so you can go back in and alter anything you need to in the future. So from here, I am going to go ahead and select all of my photo collage and copy it. And then we're going to go back over to this 8.5 by 11 and paste that onto the canvas here. So then I can move this into the top left corner there in order to print it exactly in that spot on my paper. That means I can actually go to this one as well and select all of it, copy and paste, and I can put this one right next to it. So now I can print all of this, so the 2 4 by 8 photos at the exact same time. I still have some extra space here at the bottom, so maybe I also want to print this 3 by 4 photo. So what I'm going to do is select all of it and copy it, go back over to my 8.5 by 11 canvas and paste. Now here's the thing, this photo will not fit in its current orientation. It's too tall, right? It's going to print on top of one of the other photos. So while this layer is selected, and we've got the little dots around the outside, you can transform it by going up to Edit, and then down to this Free Transform or Control T. I usually just use Control T. When you free transform your item here, so this is specific to one layer on your screen, you then have a couple of options that show up here at the top. The only one that I want you to pay attention to is this one that has an angle. So you can click into the angle box and add in an angle in which you're going to turn the photo. So for me, I want this to be sideways. So I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. And then once I have that done, I can hit enter twice and it's going to keep those settings. Now that I have that part done, I can adjust this and put it where I want it to print, which is right down here in the corner. I've got those guidelines that shows me that this photo is butting up right next to the 4x8 photo and the side and the bottom of my page. So let's pretend I have another one of these, another 3x4 photo. I can paste that in here and set that one underneath the other 4x8. So now when I print this off on my 8.5 by 11 inch paper, I am only wasting this tiny little strip here along the side, which is way better than printing only a 4x8 and wasting all of the paper around it. So this is a technique I use all the time when I am printing my photos. I'll add them to a larger canvas, compile them all on there, get this big photo collage going on, print it out, and cut the things apart that I'm going to use in the sizes that they're going to be. So best use, in my opinion, of collages. Okay, so let's go over to Photoshop Elements and I can bring you through the same process. We'll do it a little bit quicker now that you know kind of my reasoning for everything. So here is the elements. Let's start by cropping all of the photos. So we'll go to the crop button. We want this to be, we're going to do the width and the height. So we want 2 inches by 2 inches, 300 pixels per inch. That gives me my square. I kind of want this to be, okay, there we go. The full height. And once I get it to where I like it, we're going to hit enter and crop it. So let's do the same thing. I might have to change all of these. That's annoying. So 2 inches by 2 inches, 300 pixels per inch. Yep. And sure, looks good. This one, what happens if I click out and back in? Will it adjust it? Nope, it's just all going to be that. So 2 inches by 2 inches, 300 pixels per inch. Let's, okay. Sure, that looks good. Did I get this one or did I miss it? Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3. You know what, let's just leave it at that. Let's just do the one photo, actually. You know what? Let's, yeah. Yep. Because that's going to take too much time. All right, so let's just use this one photo. And what we're going to do is we are going to open a new blank file. Again, let's do this one Traveler's Notebook size, so 4 inches wide, 8 inches tall, 300 pixels per inch. Hit that enter button. And then we're going to come back over to our photo here. We're going to select all, get those marching ants, copy it, go over to the 4x8 and paste it in. Now we're at the right size. So let's go ahead and stick these in. One difference you might notice in Elements is that those pink guidelines are not showing up to let you know where the photo is located. So it does kind of snap a little bit to let you know, like, oh, there's the middle and there's the edge and there's the edge, but it's a little, you know. One of the things I like about Creative Cloud is that you have those pink guidelines. Okay, so there is the first option, right, where we've got no borders in between the photos. Let's go back over to this 2x2 photo. We're going to crop it down even further to 1.875 by 1.875, 300 pixels per inch, and let's crop that. Okay, I think we made it, right? Let's just, no. Okay, come on. All right, let's crop that. Good. So now we can open up a new canvas. We want this to be in inches. We want 2x2. Great. And now we've got the white canvas here. Go back to the photo, select it all, copy it, and paste it. And there we go. Yay, it looks right. So we can save this with the 2 separate layers, or we can merge them together to create one layer all in and of itself. Let's select it all and copy. Let's go back over to that. You know what? Nope. Let's open up a new one just so we can see it. We want this to be 4 inches by 8. Very good. And then we can paste it on here and then repeat that process until we fill in the whole entire space here. So there's that, 2 more, and we've got it. So there's the collage. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one, and I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one. And now you can see the difference between the two. So there's the one with no borders, there's the one with borders. Let's merge everything down together. I'm using Control Shift and the letter E to get them merged together, but you can also go to Layer and Merge Visible. It works the same way. Let's open up that 8.5 by 11. Come on now. Okay, 8.5 by 11 inch canvas, which is what I'm going to print on, right? 8.5 by 11 at 300 pixels print. Great. And now we can grab these collages and add them by selecting all of them, copying them, and pasting them, and then moving them into place. So then we can do this one, and we'll move that one into place. Let's open up the 3x4 photo again. Let's say that we're adding this onto the canvas, and I don't want it to be at the bottom. I want it to be on top. There we go. So again, remember that this doesn't work in this specific orientation. So then we're going to go up to this image and down to transform. So it's in a different place. In Creative Cloud, it's under Edit. In Elements, it's under Image, Transform, and Free Transform, or you can again do the Control T. For this one, you can go down to the degrees for the angle or the angle at which it is oriented, and we can put in 90 in order to turn it, hit enter, and then you can move this into place and hit that check mark. Looks super good. Let's pretend we have another one. Oh, it came in that, so I'm going to go Control T for free transform, 90 degrees. We're going to hit enter and put that into place. So here again, we are just wasting this little itty bitty edge of the photo, but I would print this out just like this and then cut it into the 3x4s and the 4x8s. All right, friends, that is our lesson today on photo collages. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to let me know. Next week, I'm going to be back with another photo related topic. We're going to be talking about adding text onto your photos. So this is something that you can do prior to printing them in order to save some space on your layout with adding text directly onto the photo. So come back next week and let me teach you a little bit about that. Until then, have a great rest of your week, friends. I did forget to mention that I would love for you to create a collage like this in your program of choice. Try to do exactly the one that I just did today. So create a 4x8 canvas with 8 2x2 photos on it with no borders, and then do the exact same thing again, but have photos that have borders on them instead. So create both of those 4x8 photos, photo collages that we did today. And then I would also love you to give a try at adding 2 of the 3x4 photos onto a 6x4 canvas so that it is ready to print and cut those images apart. All right, friends, that is for sure it this time. So have a great rest of your week, and I will catch you all in